All right, here's our last video for this section. It's going to be a little exercise for you to do, and then another little exercise after that. This one, I will show you the answer in a moment, so you're going to pause it here to read it carefully and do it yourself. And then after you've done it yourself, I'll show you the answer that I got, and then you can write the correct answer on the side if you need to. Here are my answers. The first one says, well, it's inverse variation. It says that C is inversely proportional to P. So you're going to have an equation that looks like this, but you just have to find the number K. And you might be realizing that, well, just take the total cost of the watch, and that's $120, divided by the number of people paying for it, will give you the cost per person. So you might be able to see intuitively that way that it should just be C equals 120 divided by P. And that's great. If you didn't see it intuitively, then you're going to have to think of a pair of C and P values to plug in. So I tried P equals 2, so 2 people are contributing. That will make the cost 60 because they have to contribute a total of $120. So I just plugged in those numbers into C and P in the equation, multiplied both sides by 2, and got K is 120. So that's the answer to A. That gives you C as a function of P. Now here's what the graph looks like. I just plugged in some numbers for P here. I wrote this as X, but of course it's really P. So if P is 2, that's 2 people contributing, you pay $60 each. If 4 people contribute, it's $30 each. If 6 people contribute, it's going to be $20 each. If 12 people contribute, it's $10 each. So that gives you some points. And let's talk about why this has an asymptote here. It has 2 asymptotes, first of all. Let's look at this, how the p-axis or the x-axis is a horizontal asymptote, because we can see that as P becomes greater, as more and more people contribute, if like 50 or 100 or 1,000,000 people were contributing, they'd all have to pay smaller and smaller amounts. So it kind of makes sense that the graph should look like this, that as you go further and further to the right, more and more people are contributing. The amount that each person has to pay is going to get smaller and smaller and get closer to 0. So that's an asymptote there. Now, as you have fewer and fewer people contributing, the cost is also going to get large. If only, like, let's say Delbert only has 1 friend, that person's going to have to pay the whole $120. And when P is small, if you only have like 4 or 2 or 1 people contributing, you can see the cost per person gets larger. So that gives it that vertical asymptote there. Okay. So this next question is kind of a summary exercise of the whole thing. I'm calling it a reading question because just like the reading questions in the book, all of the answers can be found just by looking through the book and finding where it says this thing. So this is a matching question. You're going to fill in all these blanks with either A or B. And if you don't remember something from watching the videos, that's okay. It just means you need to study it a little bit more. You can either go back to your video notes. All the answers to this are in the video notes somewhere. And if you can't find it in your notes because you didn't take very good notes, that's okay. You can find it somewhere in the book. I was personally a student who used to take really bad notes because I had to focus on listening because I couldn't really do 2 things at the same time. So I relied a lot for going back to the book on stuff like this. So nothing wrong with that. So anyways, I'll leave you to it. Good luck, and I'll see you in class.